we have a world that is telling us what to value and what a high value man or a high value woman looks like. And we need to get back in touch with what high value is to us. What's the kind of love that is in line with what I value, with what I care about? Because so many people, the lists that people do have, whether they're literal lists or they're just in their mind, is that so much of what's on that list is about ego. It's not about what makes us happy. You know, ego is, does this person fit the bill for what I'm looking for?
Are they going to make me look good with my friends or family or?
Yeah, there's a great, I want to read this because there's a great moment in the book about this that is really, really powerful in terms of the ways that people, I think, get the lists wrong in life. Yeah, so have you ever seen the movie Up in the Air? Like George Clooney?
Yes, the flying one, where he's constantly flying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's on a plane
Anna
like
Kendrick,
every day.
I think it's Anna Kendrick.
Uh-huh.
But there's a conversation between Anna Kendrick and a woman who's, I don't know, 10, 15 years older than her, maybe even a bit more, where Anna Kendrick is basically giving off her list of what she wants.
In a man.
In a man, yeah. And she's heartbroken at the time that she says this. Like truly heartbroken because this guy has broken up with her. And he was everything that she wanted. And she says he really fit the bill, you know. White collar, 6'1", college grad, loves dogs, likes funny movies, brown hair, kind eyes, works in finance but is outdoorsy. I always imagined he'd have a single syllable name like Matt or John or Dave. In a perfect world, he drives a 4Runner and the only thing he loves more than me is his golden lab and a nice smile. There's nothing in that description about how this person makes her feel, about actual like great values that this person has. It's like a casting call list. And it's extraordinary to me how many times people, when someone says to me, I'm really struggling to get over this person, I say, well, what was it about them? You would be shocked when people say what it was, how little it often has to do with how this person treated them.
Really?
No.
What do they say usually? Is it about more like
how
they showed up on paper?
How they, like they were this, they were like, basically they described their eligibility and and also
they had a
it's
good
like,
job.
But it could also be they're funny and they're just so like, you know, I don't know. They could say we had such a great time together when we were together, or we had this amazing connection, but they'll often describe how impressive the person is. And what they don't say is they were so good to me. Or they showed up so consistently in my life, or they really saw me, or I really felt like I could be everything, like I could be exactly myself with this person.
Right. That's big.
You know, it's so rarely those things that get described.
About missing someone.
It's it's more about idolizing that person, or it's about like worshiping how great that person was, but it's not about how great that person was for them.
How they made them feel.
Yeah.
And what I heard you say was consistently, because some people might say, well, we had amazing times and he made me feel so good, but was it consistent? Maybe it was good every other week.
I had someone ask me recently, Matt, what do you do when you have an epic connection with someone on a date and then they ghost you afterwards? And I'm like, what do you mean? I get it. We can go on a date and have this incredible moment with someone. We can have an incredible time with someone. But what value is that if it doesn't continue?
Right.
It's literally worthless if it doesn't continue. If what you want is a relationship and a connection doesn't turn into a relationship, then by your standards of what you value, which is a relationship, it's worthless. It means nothing. A relationship, by definition, continues.
What if someone listening or watching is saying, well, that sounds great, but that was an amazing day or weekend that I had with this person, and I don't want to go to some boring relationship where we don't have this connection.
Yeah.
So I don't want to lose that opportunity of like finding someone who can recreate that feeling for me consistently. Is that even a vision we should be thinking about? These like explosive weekends or one night that was like magical moments. Is that real life consistently?
Well, I think you've run a marathon. I haven't.
It's hard, man. It is hard.
But
almost broke me.
When you run a marathon, did you get upset about your pace compared to when you've run a 100-meter sprint? No, because they're different races.
Yes.
Like they're completely different things. You can't compare the endurance energy and the muscles that are necessary to run, how many miles is a marathon?
26.2.
26.2. To run 26.2 miles compared to the fast twitch muscle required to run a 100-meter sprint.
That's true.
They're very different things. And a lot of the time we compare someone that we have a healthy situation with to the peak of what you might have felt on what is the equivalent of a vacation romance.
Right.
Where the most exciting thing, the excitement was in part generated by the fact that you were leaving. Mm-hmm. So how does someone replicate that situation? It's the same way when someone's awesome for 3 months and then they disappear and the idea of the relationship is like this insect frozen in ember that it always is frozen in time as the peak of that experience.
Yes.
Instead of what it might have been in year 3 or year 30, which would have been a very different thing. So we have to be very careful about how I always say, don't comparison shop for chemistry. Like you can't draw these unfair comparisons. Even like there are relationships where people say to me, I just want the kind of chemistry I had in my last relationship. And then when they talk about their last relationship, what's very evident is that they never really feel like they had the person. So they're always like,
anxious.
Even in the relationship, they're always like, almost like chasing. Always feeling like I'm just trying to secure the person. They're with them, but they're always feeling like they haven't quite made the sale. And if you feel like that, then in a way the chemistry of early dating never dies because it's more anxious energy than it is chemistry.
It's unknown. Are we going to be together?
Unknown is that,
like me? Is it not like me?
Your brain is being hijacked by this chase all the time. And anytime you have sex with them, of course it feels amazing because you're like, just a feeling of, I have them for a moment and they're mine and they're, I feel good right now. But then you feel anxious again because the next day they don't call you all day or they don't call you for 3 days or whatever. It's like you're constantly in that tension. So when someone comes along and they're loving you in a healthy way and they make you feel accepted and at home for who you are and you could be vulnerable and they're still there the next day and they are very clear that they would like to see you this weekend. And when you experience that and you go, how do I experience the chemistry that I had with that really unsafe person with a safe person? Like you're asking for a feeling to be reproduced.
Yes.
In this situation where it doesn't get reproduced in that way. So this is what I mean by us. I'm not saying you can't have chemistry in a long-term healthy relationship. You could have amazing chemistry. You can have amazing attraction. I don't think people should sacrifice that. But what we call chemistry, we have to be really careful of.
Yes.
Measuring the chemistry of something that is more peaceful against something that was all about the spikes is a very dangerous thing to do.
I agree with that.